So health economics is about how we can use our resources in the healthcare system, so our medicines, our doctors, even our hospitals, in a way that best serves our society. And it looks at, can we use our resources better to provide more outcomes and provide those outcomes in a better way? And trials are critical to that because they provide the information that we need to make decisions about how we're allocating those healthcare resources. So the trials tell us, do things work? They tell us how much we use, they tell us how we're impacting on patients, and that's really vital information that we need so that the people who help government make decisions can make the right decisions and make them in the right way. So for a phase 1 trial, for example, we're looking for information about whether something has a signal that it works. So health economics has less of a role, but it still has a role to play because we might be interested in, well, what does it actually take to provide a drug? What does it take to deliver something? So for example, if we're interested in some new diagnostic approach that might be using something like an organoid, which is building a tumour model, we might want to know, well, actually, how much does it take to build that tumour model? What does it cost? So it's important for us to understand that so that when the next trial comes along, they've got an understanding about what it's going to take to actually build that model and they can incorporate that in what they're doing. If we're looking at something like a phase 3 trial, for example, which is comparing a new way of providing care with what we're doing currently, health economics is critical because that's the information that a Minister of Health really needs to understand if they're going to fund that new treatment. So if a trial has found that a drug works or a treatment works and that there's a positive benefit to the patient, from a health economics perspective, there's lots of questions that we will ask. The first question we will ask is, did somebody actually think about the health economics before the trial started? So do we have a good understanding of what it takes to deliver this treatment? So have we got good information about how many doctor visits they had, about how many times they went to the hospital, how many scans they had, how much drug they used, how long they took the drug for? Do we have all of that information? We really need that so that we can build a good assessment of the costs, not just for this new treatment, but for what we're replacing. The other thing we want to ask is, well, when we talk about patient benefit, what does that mean? Does that mean that they're living longer without disease? Does it mean they're living longer? What we're really interested is how they're living, how well they're living, the quality of their life. And have we collected that information in a way that we can then combine it with how long they're living so that we can then say to government, well, this is what it's going to cost for each year of quality adjusted life. And putting all of that together as a package, we can then go to someone like the government and say, well, this is the value that this new medicine represents compared to what you're doing currently. So there is certainly an element of the intangible in what we do. It isn't just about the dollars, it isn't just about how many resources are being used and whether we can put a monetary value on those things. It is about that quality of life that's critical to what we do, and making sure that we're measuring quality of life in the right way and that we're capturing the right aspects of quality of life. So in as much as that captures heart, that's vital to what we do. There are many ongoing studies in health economics about expanding what we're capturing in that quality of life so that we can capture other elements that we're not doing at the moment. So things like expectation, things like hope, for example. There's ongoing research about expanding our methods so that we can better capture some of those things. The other thing I would say is that the application of what we do very much speaks to the heart, because it is all about impacting on how people live and how people go about their daily lives. I mean, if I can share an anecdote, many years ago I was on a plane working on something, and there was an elderly couple next to me who for the entire flight kept looking at what I was doing and whispering, and at the end of the flight the gentleman worked up the courage to say, "Excuse me, but did you work on that drug?" And I said, "Well, yes." And he said, "Well, our son was dying of leukemia and he went on that drug and it saved his life. So I want to thank you for making that drug available in this country." At which point he started crying, his wife started crying, and I started crying. And so it just brought home to me that this is why I do what I do, and why health economics and the application of health economics to making medicines available using trial information is really critical to patients' lives and to what people experience every day.